Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, and we're getting down to the end of towards the end of the Chainsaw Massacre films. And of course, the one we're up to now is 2006's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning. I remember when this came out, because my mom rented it for me. I was in like 8th grade. This movie is, what people say, that movie was pointless, or like, what was the point of making that? That served no purpose. This is the most pointless, waste, whatever, of a prequel. First of all, prequels, especially in like slasher films or like a body count films, they're pretty pointless. Because, whether it's this, whether it's Wrong Turn 4 or 5, whether it's whatever else, because all the bad guys are going to live and all the good guys are going to die, because, has to lead into... This has to lead into the remake, because this is a prequel to the remake. So yeah, it has Ermey and Andrew Bryniarski, whatever his name is, as Leatherface. And the reason why this was made is because the remake in 2003 was made for like $9 million. It made 101. So it was a pretty big hit. And I don't know why, but and Toby Hooper and Kim Henkel produced this. I'm disappointed in you, Mr. Hooper. May you rest in peace, but I'm disappointed. That's like when I found out that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill produced the Fog remake. This is better than the Fog remake, but... Yeah, whenever I watch, like, the behind the scenes with Andrew Form and Brad Fuller, they just... I don't want to say they come off as pretentious, but they kind of do. They just have a way of saying, like, well, we knew that we owed it to the fans because we know what the fans want. And actually, they don't even move their heads that much. They're just like, we know what the fans want, and we knew what to deliver, and we knew that we owed it to them. It's like, people were always coming up to us, and we know that there was a lot of questions after the end of the last film. What questions? I mean, okay, I don't want to sound mean, but apparently this was made because they got a lot of questions about stuff in the remake. So this film was made for the fans to answer those burning questions. I don't think too many people were asking those questions because it only made like 50 million. Granted, it was still made very cheap and it did make money, but it made like half of what the remake did. And those burning questions, how did Leatherface get his first mask? How did he get his first chainsaw? How did where did the sheriff get the sheriff clothes? How did Uncle Monty lose his legs? Which, that one is really stupid because, especially if you're a special features junkie like I am, I suck that shit right up. They even say in, like, the making of the remake that Uncle Monty, the guy with no legs in the wheelchair, they don't come out and say what happened, but they say he obviously stepped out of line with Leatherface one day. And it's not even... This is the most no shit Sherlock movie. Like, it's almost insulting. it is kind of almost insulting. If people really were asking those questions, because the answers that they put in there is the most either obvious or lazy or duh kind of answers. Because, first of all, he's born in a slaughterhouse. His mother worked at the Blair Meat Slaughterhouse, which was the slaughterhouse. Keep this in mind. Slaughterhouse from the remake. That takes place 4 or 5. Yes, this is either in 68 or 69. So 4 or 5 years before. But his mom dies. And the boss just throws him in the dumpster. And then the old lady from the remake is digging through the dumpster, finds him, takes him home, and they raise him. And of course, we get a bunch of family photos and newspaper clippings about like deformities and stuff like that. Cut to 1968 or 69. Now, Leatherface, who's Thomas Hewitt, he's now working at the slaughterhouse. And it's already been established he has a skin disease. He was a young boy, started eating away at his face. He has no nose. The remake was the only movie that showed his face. Which, to me, Leatherface should be the one that they don't show. It's a tie between him and Michael Myers. Because Michael Myers, is the personification of evil. He shouldn't have a face. Leatherface, his mask, whatever mask he's wearing, that's his personality for the day. So what's underneath doesn't matter. But anyway, and he's wearing like leather, like from here. It's like a reverse Batman cowl. The sort of hinting to the very original film, how all this like automatic machinery will put slaughterhouse people out. So the slaughterhouse goes under. Leatherface kills his boss. Calls him because he's called retard a bunch of times. It's established that he is mentally challenged. He has facial deformities. So, also implied in the remake, he got picked on a lot. He was relentlessly bullied and shunned bullied at school, shunned by the community. So Leatherface is like a rage-filled, angry guy from years of ridicule. Not protecting his home. Anyway. So, he kills his boss. And then that burning question, where did he get his first chainsaw? Was it something symbolic? Was it a big epic moment? It was hanging on the wall. He saw it and he grabbed it. So then the Sheriff Hoyt, goes to see the real Sheriff Hoyt, goes to see Arlie Ermey and says, hey, your retard of a nephew is, got into some shit. We gotta go get him. So this huge, like 6'5", 300-pound, all muscle dude, scary looking, long hair, carrying a chainsaw down the road. The sheriff gets out, goes, hey, retard. It starts like talking down to him. So Arlie Ermey, because he left Arlie Ermey in the car with the shotgun, wasn't even like mounted like a regular cop car. It was on the dash. Arlie Ermey grabs it and shoots him. And then it's implied that all the people in the area are moving because the slaughterhouse shut down. There's no reason to stay. So that's what Arlie Ermey said. It's like, I'm now Hoyt. I'm the sheriff. We're gonna stay. We will kill for our food. We'll never be hungry again. And then, so they just become the cannibal family. And then our main characters, you have two couples. The boyfriends are brothers. One's an older brother who's already served in Vietnam once and he's going back. Now his younger brother is getting ready to ship out for his first tour, but he wants to dodge the draft and bail down to Mexico. They're with their girlfriends. They're going down the road. They have an accident with, some bikers or whatever. They have an accident in a Jeep, surprisingly not a van. So, Ermey as now the sheriff, because how did he get the sheriff costume? He shot the sheriff and he took his clothes. That's all he did. Like, see what I mean by no shit Sherlock or duh? It's almost like either they thought they were being really clever and deep, or they just thought, fans will eat up anything we give them, so don't even bother. So yeah, Ermey, he goes to check out the accident. He finds one draft card has been burnt because the younger brother is burning his draft card. He gets pissed because, he served in whatever war he served in. So he brings the boys back and he tortures them. He makes them do like drills and whatever. And that's the thing. Leatherface takes a back seat in this movie. It's all about, Ermey was fun in the first one. He's good at playing a bad guy and yelling vulgar things at people. Because the makers of the remake were big fans of Full Metal Jacket. So in this one, it's like, how bad can we make Ermey? That Leatherface is barely in it. And it's just that kind of thing up until the end. Like, yeah, this one's gory. Like, this girl, one of the girlfriends gets all her teeth pulled out. The younger brother, he gets a chainsaw, like, through the chest and, like, lifted up. And it's, like, shaking and blood's everywhere. Then, like, the lead girl, Jordana Brewster, she's kind of... think like 28 days later, the end where Cillian Murphy's like outside the house or like high tension, sort of trying to get through the house without being seen to save someone. That was the one scare, sort of creepy part, was she's looking through a window and she looks up and Ermey's looking right down at her. But because the light's on, he can only see his reflection. He can't see her. And oh yeah, she's with one biker dude that's dating the biker chick they had the accident with. So he wants to go get her back. He trips and falls, lands on a chainsaw, and he gets cut in half like this way. Oh, and yeah, Uncle Monty's either chainsaw or gets shot in the leg. Something gets fucked up with his leg. So Hoyt, who Ermey, who's gone full psycho now, has Leatherface cut the leg off, and he's like, well, now that's uneven, so he makes him cut off the other one. It's like, no shit. The first time you see that guy in the wheelchair in the remake, that first scene you see him, he has no legs. He must have gotten him cut off with the chainsaw at some point. And apparently people asked, I don't mean to sound pretentious and whatever, if you were genuinely wondering how and why he lost his legs, I hope this answer satisfied you. Because I really don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's a prequel. You can put most of it together in your head. You had to have known Hoyt, R. Lee Ermey was not a real sheriff. You had to have known that Uncle Monty got his legs cut up. Well, that they told you in the making of documentary on the DVD. So that one they gave you. But then you have the fucking stupid ass ending. There's 3 different endings. So, yeah. Oh, when I said remember that about the slaughterhouse, how is it the slaughterhouse is shut down, abandoned, and, also in, like, a town that everybody's left, where in the remake, 4 or 5 years later, it looks like a new, not new, but, it looks like a functioning slaughterhouse, where there's pigs and shit. It looks somewhat sanitary, looks cleaner than it did in this movie, while it was actually... So, yeah. That's an actual question that I would want answered. Why is it shut down in this movie, but then 4 or 5 years later, in the context of the film, it seems to be up and running and better than ever. It's the typical Leatherface chase scene. She gets way ahead of him. She's way ahead of him. Can't even hear the chainsaw. She gets in this tiny ass car. Think like a Honda Civic, but like 60s. She's driving down the road, and all of a sudden, the chainsaw blade comes through her back seat, through her stomach, up her chest, killing her. And so, okay, Andrew Bryniarski, whatever his name is, he's like 6'4", 5'6". He's like 6.5 feet tall. Easily between 250, 300 pounds of just built. He was able to somehow get to the car before she did, when she was way ahead of him. Crouch down enough in the back seat of like a Honda Civic sized car, and then be able to take like this chainsaw that probably has an 18-inch blade on it, pull start it, rev it up, and maneuver his body to ram it through her, all without her seeing him at all in the car. At all. The funny thing is, you look at the alternate ending, he uses a knife. A knife that's big enough to go through the seat and through her. That's how she dies. It's like, you know what? I still smell bullshit, but I can buy that more than the chainsaw. No. It's a Chainsaw Massacre film. All these other kills and all these other films that should have a chainsaw doesn't have a chainsaw. That kill does. One that does not make physical sense. I don't remember what the other ending was. But, of course, since she's driving, there's a cop has someone pulled over. She crashes into them, kills them. Stuffy again. And then Leatherface gets out, walks into the darkness as... I don't know if it's John Larroquette again. Because John Larroquette obviously did the original film, the voiceover. He did the remake. He might have done this one, I'm not sure. So yeah, this movie is just completely pointless. Because there's no other family members. There's none that they add that could get killed in this and have it not affect the remake. The skinny, sickly woman isn't even in this. The obese woman is. Old lady is. Uncle Monty, R. Lee Ermey. They're all gonna live. if anything bad happens to him, like Uncle Monty having legs, you know he's gonna lose them. You know it's gonna be with a chainsaw. Also, because they told you in the making of the last one. You know all the good guys, all the good characters are gonna die. Because if they got away, they would get help. And all the supposed burning questions that they say they got asked from fans. Again, if you were wondering that and that was on your mind, I'm not making fun of you or anything like that. I'm just saying that the answers that they gave were bullshit. Not necessarily bullshit. They were no shit answers. Like, well, how did he get his first chainsaw? He saw it on the wall, so he took it. How did he get the sheriff's uniform? He killed the sheriff and took his clothes. How did he make his first mask? He killed someone, took their skin. It's like, definition of pointless. This movie could not have been made and it would not have affected anything. The sad thing is, even with that bullshit ending of 6'5", at least 250, 300 pound built dude with probably a 60, 70 pound chainsaw with about a 18-inch blade was able to get into a car, a little tiny car, before the girl he was chasing, that was way ahead of him, got to it. Then he was able to pull start, rev up, and ram that chainsaw through a seat. Even with that bullshit, implausible ending, also without her noticing him in the car, this movie still makes way more sense than the next one. Yeah, I don't mean like chronologically, like the remake. I mean the next one to come out, which was that fucking 3D movie, which I'll get to. Yeah, this movie's completely fucking pointless. I liked it when I first saw it because it was a Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's got gore. This movie is completely pointless. But yeah, so that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. And gotta go blow my nose. And anyway, thank you for watching.